Hello, Umut here. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to work on this round canvas. I'm going to use acrylic paints. These are heavy body. And I'm going to create a winter garden with its flowers inspired by the colors of winter. It will be an easy one, so I hope you can replicate it and have some decoration in your homes. First I'm selecting some tones of blues, some off-white, beige, the winter colors that we see around, some cool colors. I'm using several brands of acrylic paints. These are all heavy body, as I said, according to their colors, so it doesn't matter. And my brush is a filbert brush, it's called, according to the tip of it. And I chose a big one because I want to cover the whole canvas easily. And I am wetting the canvas a little bit with a spray for my paint to move easier. Also, I wet my brush a little bit as well. And I like to have my brush strokes in a direction sometimes. So this is the direction that I am taking, and I am not doing any other movement other than this direction. I will also design my winter garden according to this direction. You will see when I create it. And I am mixing the colors that I have on my palette. As a palette, I am using a plastic plate, as you see. That's the easiest that I find. It has some depth, so I can have my colors and I can mix them. And I don't need to clean it afterwards, I can just throw it. I'm just framing the canvas in a way to define my design with a burnt umber color, which is the darkest color I'm using. I'll have it on one side and on the opposite side, as you see here, because my flowers will come from this side and the opposite side, and it helps it to frame it in a way. Also, I will use a lot of brown for the flowers that I will create. And for the middle, I'm just mixing the same colors over and over until I am happy. As you see, I'm not changing the direction of my brush strokes at all. I'm not cleaning my brush in the middle. Sometimes I'm cleaning it over the napkin on my right side. But also mixing the colors and not cleaning the brush helps blending. I decided to add a little bit white in the middle, and I'm using another small brush to do that because I didn't want to have the brush from all these colors to mix. And for a pop of color, I'm using this bright blue. I think it's a cobalt blue. To just have it here and there with the same brush stroke movement, as you see. I love the combination of these colors. It's very wintry, it feels very cool and cold. And among these other colors, this blue really makes a vibrant look. And I'm just blending it with all the colors that I have until I like the look of it. Now it's time for creating the flowers. First, I'm going to use the same burnt umber, and with these palette knives, you can use whatever you have. I'm just going to use the edges of them. You can use credit cards, loyalty cards, they do the same thing. I'm using the big one to create the stem, and then I'm just using the other to create this, I don't know, plant that we see around. It's just a very easy way of creating this instead of using a brush and trying to make a straight line. You will see in this video I will show you how to make easy flowers without drawing and working on them for a long time. I will just have these plants all over the brown area in different directions, but I'm not going to bore you with all those creations. So this will be the last one that I show you, and I will come back when I finish all of them. As you see here, magic, I've finished all of them. Now I will have another tone of brown, burnt sienna, to create other plants. Maybe we can have some pine cones, at least things looking like pine cones. Remember, this is an abstract painting, so we don't need to be neat about things. I'm just mixing some colors and again using my brush, which is a round brush now, to create some shapes in a way that it looks like a pine cone. I'm mixing this burnt sienna with white and the other brown, and all I'm trying to do is to make it look like they are on top of each other, creating a pile for a winter garden. Even for a pop of color, I'm using this blue, so it really doesn't matter. Open your imagination and do whatever you want in a way that looks aesthetic to you. To have smaller cones, I just changed my brush to a smaller round brush. And don't worry, this even won't show properly because I will add flowers on top of each other. And in the end, you will see we will have snow. So again, this is what is abstract painting. Everything is abstract, nothing is neat and tidy, and I love it. It just reflects my character. When I cannot. That's why I cannot do cards probably because I'm not so neat and tidy. I smudge something for sure. And by the way, I'm going to replicate the same kind of style on the opposite side with a less busy look. I will have the same plants and same colors, but in a smaller area and with a less busy look, so that my round canvas is complete. As you see, I am just mixing all these three colors to create these cones in a very easy way, and this is the layer that I built on top of the other plants that we created. Now I'm using this stipple brush. It's also called a stencil brush. It's much more stiff, so you can dab with your colors. So I dabbed it into the Wedgwood blue that you see here. I am just dabbing it to create another type of plant, just to have some variation and different look and feel of flowers and plants. And after I finish with this, you will see that I will take a smaller brush, the same type of brush, and I will have a darker color inside these little plants that I created. And again, I'm saying this, I will create other things on top, so this will be at the background, creating some sort of look of 3D dimension. This is ultramarine blue, and as you see inside these, it looks like they have dual color. I'm doing the same movement, and I will be finished with these ones as well. And now I'm going to have some white dots on these other plants. I don't know, it looks like some sort of cottony feathers on some plants. We have one in our balcony that planted itself there, and it has some cotton bugs on it, little ones. So after seeing that, I said maybe I put these. It may look like snow as well. So I'm putting a little bit on the ground, thinking they fell or there is snow. It's just creating a look that looks nice. And as you see, it's another day, and I finished the other side as well with the same look and feel. I didn't want to bore you doing the same thing twice. Now I will take a light blue, dark blue, and as usual my white to create little flowers with some petals. I'm mixing these three colors to have some variation in the color, which makes you feel like there is some dimension. And I'm just painting all over the place. Afterwards you will see that I will even cover some of these flowers. As you see, building on top of each other, and now there is no importance of what was behind, how neat it was. It all looks like a bunch of plants and flowers on top of each other. I will just put some on this side as well to create a balance. You see my other flowers are now at the background. And again I will replicate this on the other side as well. It took me a few days to finish this painting, so apologize for the change of lighting and color because the weather changes, so the daylight is even different when I am painting. Also sometimes it's night, sometimes it's day. I cannot help it. I decided we need some browns on top of these blues, which will balance it back. Also at the very edge of my canvas I want a brown, a darker color to create a nice frame. So I'm creating these other plants again with a thinner brush, and I'm just coloring at the very bottom like it's earth, soil, with a darker brown. And from time to time I just flick my brush to create some other plants, maybe grass that is now brown because it's winter. Again, this all adds dimension and looks like we have a bunch of plants. By the way, as much as I can, I will put links down below for the supplies I'm using. But in general, I'm just using heavy body paints, acrylic paints, and a round canvas. Also, until 31st of December, I have a discount code that you can use and buy Arteza heavy body acrylic paints or any products from Arteza actually. So I will leave those links down below as well. And I'm using the back of my brush to dip it into white and create the center of these blue flowers. And finally, it cannot be without snow. I would love to have some splashes of white to create this effect. And we are finished. I think I'll stop here. I painted all the edges of the canvas with the light blue to create a nice effect on the wall. I also did some blue dots, as you see, all around with the back of my brush. And the final thing to do when you have a painting is to varnish it. I'm using a gloss varnish. You can choose any brand. It's just a gloss varnish. It shows your colors much deeper and creates a very nice effect. I'm just using a big brush to have a lot of varnish on the painting and make sure it's dry. I'm doing it the next day, really. Wouldn't mess with it in the same day. And I will try to show you how it looks with the varnish. I also want to tell you this painting is available on sale. So if you want as a gift at Christmas time or for your house, you can buy it. Please email me on my email that you see on the screen for details and we can talk about it. I hope you enjoyed this video and inspired to do similar things. You can see the painting on a wall with a frame maybe, just to imagine it. Thanks so much for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, and see you next time.